Title IX is technically a one-sentence law. So it basically means that no one should be discriminated against based on their gender, that it would get in the way of their educational opportunities. But there's hundreds and hundreds of pages of guidance, and it is complicated.
Title IX was signed by President Nixon in 1972. For decades, it was primarily used to guarantee women equal access to athletic scholarships and resources for women's athletic teams. But in the 1990s, a series of Supreme Court decisions concluded that Title IX also applied to sexual harassment and assault in all educational settings. In one decision, Justice Sandra Day O'Connor wrote that sexual harassment denies victims equal access to education that Title IX protects. But until 2011, there was no way to enforce this interpretation in Title IX. That year, the Obama administration stated that any university that didn't investigate and adjudicate sexual assault cases under Title IX would lose federal funding. Patty started her career as a Title IX officer in 2011 at Indiana University East, at a time when many universities were creating these positions in fear of losing their funding.
Ultimately, the Department of Education said, we will take away your federal financial aid if you don't comply with Title IX, which there was never a ramification for violating this law.
Patty moved to Texas in 2014 to implement the first Title IX office at Baylor University, a Southern Baptist school where it was illegal to dance on campus until 1996.
I had over 416 cases in under 23 months. It was like opening the Pandora's box of what had been going on, and it's hard to swallow such an underculture or underbelly of a culture that exists, that people felt like no one's having sex, no one's drinking until they're married.
Patty agrees with DeVos that adjudicating criminal cases in a college setting can be difficult.
What's happening is universities are becoming these quasi-criminal and civil processes, and it does get murky and it does get complicated.
Instead of working with schools on behalf of students, the prior administration weaponized the Office for Civil Rights to work against schools and against students.
But Title IX officers have far less power than what DeVos suggests.
Title IX professionals have a hard time doing the work because there's complexities in every case, and Title IX professionals don't have subpoena power. We also are restricted by jurisdiction. The most strict discipline we can give is to expel someone or separate them from the university. But that doesn't go to criminal record. It doesn't restrict them from hanging out at the bar across the street. There's no interim protections under a criminal process. And a trial can take 3 years. How long are we usually in school? What happens every day when they're trying to go to class and they see the person on campus, or they're in class with the person?
Over the last 5 years, the number of Title IX complaints to the Department of Education involving sexual violence increased more than 500%, from just 41 complaints to 260 last year.
I think people report more now because it's being talked about. You allow room for students to come forward and say, hey, I think something bad happened to me.